can see this going two ways. And the first one is if I do it right, it's going to spark a debate and people are going to start talking about it in the comment section down below. It'll leak onto Facebook, onto several forums, and it'll get a healthy topic going. On the other hand, it's just could be fodder for sophomoric humor. So I'm kind of taking the idea of let's just throw it out there and just get it over with, because this episode we're talking about massive balls. You done? I'll wait for you guys to finish. It's cool. We're cool? Alright.
Let the debate begin!
If you've been on the interwebs for a little while, you've probably seen a video of a couple old school tourney guys talking about shooting a gun 70, 80 yards with accuracy. And I would put that video right here, except for copyright reasons I can't, so oh well. Now the thing is that I would normally chalk this up to the rose-colored goggle effect, except I've seen it actually happen. In order to understand this though, you gotta understand that way back in the day, the paintballs were, in a scientific sense, more massive. They had more stuff in them for the size. They had more weight, for lack of a better way to put it. And here's where we actually get into the whole debate of this, because this is basically Newton's law of motion. The harder you push something, the further it goes. And it takes a harder push to get a more massive object moving at the same velocity as a less massive object, and that energy has to go somewhere, so it actually goes with the distance that the ball travels. If you guys want to argue this one, that's fine. I'm just going off of my practical experience with this. Case in point number one was when Diablo introduced the Midnight Paintball. Originally it was sold as a heavy ball, and it was, as far as science goes, it was a massive round. It was also like shooting road signs at people because it was a metallic green shell with a neon orange fill. And so I would shoot somebody and you would see like a glint of green, and then road construction. And I was shooting CO2 that day, and I really don't think that was much of a factor in it, but I was outranging guys easily by 40, 50 feet on average. And I would chronograph consistently after every game, and I was shooting 285, 285, 285, but that was the Viper for you. The Viper was a really consistent gun. But the really telling experiment in that was one field, they were doing an experiment that day. They were shooting Zap and RP Shear, and RP just had their standard ball, but Zap sent them Wax Zap. Okay, Wax Zap. It really wasn't wax, it just kind of had the consistency of it. When it hit you, it would congeal very quickly, and it had the consistency of, you know, moist wax. It was an anti-wiping paint, basically. So if you did this, it would just smear all the way down your jersey. Really okay for tournament play, not so hot for rec ball, because in rec ball it looked like somebody just lit a candle and just did this to you after every freaking game. I bought some of the Wax Zap figuring, yeah, you know, it'll be cool, you know, whatever. And then I just had a hard time chronographing it in because I kept on shooting really low, but you know, I just chalked that up to being a pump gun. But it was during the first game that it was really pointed out to me what kind of range I had with this thing. Guy with an auto mag, standing, shoots at me with his whopping 9 rounds a second, which at the time was pretty good. And he just goes like this, and all the balls are falling about 15, 20 feet in front of me, and they're not even reaching my feet on the ground. And he yells to his teammate, "Oh, don't worry about him, he's out of range." I figured, what the hell? Take a knee, cock the gun, shoulder it, raise to elevate for distance, pull the trigger. And I watched that ball soar all the way across the field and smack him right between the eyes. And they were screaming bloody murder after that one. And Crony is good, Crony is good. Yeah, the gun was chronographed at about 250. And the guy with the auto mag, he was shooting about 280s, 290s, somewhere in that range. I will grant this, that I was shooting the KP2 at the time, so there is some black voodoo magic as far as range in that gun goes, but I don't think it was that. There was a massive downside to this, and that is that the more massive round, yeah, it had a lot of energy going out the gun, so it would go really far. But wow, did it leave monster welts. I can remember one guy who, I'm going to let him comment in the comment section if he wants to. He got shot in the arm over here, and it left a black and blue mark this big on his arm, and I'm not even exaggerating when I say this. He got hit later on in the day here, and it left the mark this big, so we were joking he had an entry and an exit wound. And I remember way back in the day, there were guys who were walking up the field with black and blue marks that were about the size of their thighs. So in one aspect, yeah, I kind of miss the old heavy rounds, but on the other hand, not going home looking like I lost a fight with a really angry octopus, not a bad thing.